The next tone that we're going to talk about is the heel toe. And this is an important one to see, I think, from the top. So Joe's going to get the hand cam up for you. Playing position on the congas, people describe different ways. For me, I tend to think of it as 2 to 3 positions. My sort of general position is with my wrists sort of up, more or less parallel with the drum, and my knuckles aligned with the rim. Generally speaking, that's where my open tones and some of my muffled tones will happen. For slaps, which we'll talk about in a second, I'm going to go just a little bit more towards center. So open, slap. Those are pretty close to the same, just a little bit further in. The other playing area is up here, and that's where I tend to do real deads, the so-called bass tone that people talk about, and also where the heel toe happens. So a little bit more towards the top of the drum. So heel toe, some people call it, heel toe or pad, but the heel toe makes sense to me. The heel is right here on your hand, not here. Don't hit it on your wrist, right here on your hand. And that just goes down onto the drum. The toe is going to be the toes of your fingers. Now, you can play that as a single articulated strokes, boom, 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 boom. Or you can play it kind of like a diddle and lift up from it. So we've got some exercises for you. Joe, if you could pull up heel toe warm-ups 1 and 2. This is just 16 notes. I put the heel toe sound at that B line in the treble clef. But basically you can see there you just got 16 notes. You can start right or left, it doesn't matter. And you're going to go heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. A variation of that is to go 8 notes first, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So you can do it with the 8 notes, or you can just do this. As you get faster, it starts becoming something that actually sounds like something, and you can use in your solos. And that's what you saw Giovanni doing in the video. It starts to become a diddle. It's actually kind of a rebound stroke. This warm-up is what I start out every practice session playing. I start it slow, and I usually play that for about 2 minutes straight, just kind of slow, moving to fast. And what do you do with your thumbs? Your thumbs are just sort of relaxed. Heel toe warm-up 2 combines the dead stroke, which has that kind of diamond shape, with the heel toe on the left. Why with the left? Because when we play the marcha, which is the most famous pattern that you're going to learn, the heel toe is done with the left. So this heel toe warm-up number 2 is a triplet warm-up, triplet, triplet. So dead heel toe, dead heel toe. Also, you can combine the two. For that. Okay, so that's the heel toe. Next, we have the open tone. So we talked about the dead tone, talked about the heel toe, and now let's talk about the open tone. The open tone is the main pitch tone of the drum. It's a wrist-based tone, and as I said, your knuckles should be lined up with the drum. And when you're going to play it, you're going to use your wrist almost like you're playing a snare drum or a mallet instrument. And the rebound is important. You want to get away from the head. You don't want this. You want to strike the drum. Sorry, I've got a little dirt on my hands. Strike the drum all on the fingertips. Some people say, do you hit with this part? No, I don't. I'm thinking of hitting with this almost like it's a ping pong paddle. Whoop. And I was taught to draw the sound out of the drum, so if anybody took a photograph at any time, your hands should be up. You want to think of playing with the skin of your hand all the way down through the drum, getting the head to resonate. Just like a snare drum, just like a mallet instrument. The point is that this head needs to be vibrating. Some exercises. Again, these are all on the PDFs for you to practice at home. If you don't have congas, what can you practice on? You can practice on a table. You can practice on a book. You can practice on a practice pad sometimes, depending on what the edge of the practice pad is. There are also conga practice pads that are basically just like this top part that you can get. Or you can buy a drum, one single drum. I mean, I have now 6 drums, but I started out with 1 drum. And actually getting your technique really in order on 1 drum is the greatest thing you could do. Sit outside, put a metronome on, put some music on, and just master your sounds. Okay, so preparatory exercise A is dead, 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 open, 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 open. So you'll notice that the dead stays down. And then I lift up, open. Already, just with that, you can have some solo patterns. With the simplest of patterns, just how you move around, how you orchestrate around the drums. So that's preparatory exercise A. You can also develop that heel-toe warm-up to incorporate deads and opens. So we've got heel-toe warm-up 3, and you should be seeing that in front of you, and that's going to be open, heel-toe. Right, left, left. Notice that this hand kind of stays going up. Of course, you can combine them. I mean, you can do all kinds of things with it. So all of that is just a combination of dead heel toe, and open. So that's open, open, dead. Anyway, onward and onward and onward. Other exercises that we have, I have a couple, there's a bunch of patterns on this page, and they're great little patterns in and of themselves. You can use them in songs, you can use them in solos, but they're great practice patterns as well. So pattern number 1 and number 2, hopefully you're seeing there. That one is just, and again, the simplest of rhythms, quarter notes and eighth notes. We've got dead, dead, open, dead, and you just can cycle that. So 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. Very simple, but if you start moving around, so something like that. So that's the first one. The second one is the reverse. So it's 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3. Etc., etc. Also just great simple patterns to really clarify your open tones and your dead tones. Clarity of sounds is the most important. Okay, the last sound, the most important and most elusive, is the slap sound. And there's, no real easy way to explain this or teach this sound. I recommend practicing it with one hand on the drum. That makes it a little easier to get the slap, and also gives it a little bit higher pitch. Eventually you want to be able to do it without it, but to start, it kind of helps it out to get it there. The slap sound is actually, people think that it needs to be more tense than everything else, but actually your hand needs to be more relaxed than any other sounds. With the open, you're really playing that wrist with that paddle of your flat hand. With the slap, you're very relaxed and you have this kind of whip. Some people have described it like a snake or a hot stove, or you keep your hand really, sometimes I've done this with players also, keep your hand really like this and then just flick it down like that. The idea behind it is that you've got your hand and you're going wah, and you let your fingers go wah, and at the very last second they grab onto the drum. It's not a completely flat, maybe Joe can show you from the top. It's not a completely flat hand. So I would say that the open tone is more flat. The slap has a little bit of relaxation to it, a little bit of air there, and the fingertips just grab the drums. So